she have a baby in that basket? Yeah, so I'm out biologizing right here, and one of the big reasons why I chose this spot is because you got something like this out here. I mean, it's a pretty nice view. I mean, it's cool. You got a nice view, at least from this spot where I'm at right now, of, you know, the current condition of this particular portion of the California Delta, which is known as the Carquinez Strait, named after some old Spanish explorer named Carquinez. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting spot biologically, just because, you know, this is where freshwater systems from two major freshwater rivers, the Sacramento and the San Joaquin, converge, and they all mix with salt water, especially in this spot right here. So you got areas of high turbulence. I don't know if you can see all those white caps out there. White caps are like, you know, the white parts of the waves that form when the water's turbulent. So it gets pretty rough out there, especially when tides are moving and shifting. And you can see closer, near to the shore, near the train tracks, you can see the water there is obviously more turbid. It mixes more with the sediment there, gets churned up, pushed off to the side and deposited. But yeah, then you could also see you know, the current level of modern human development. You know, you got those bridges out there, you got a couple what seems to be power plants, you know, maybe some doctors' offices and tourist things or whatever. And then you got like old remnants of stuff, or stuff like right here must have been a boat dock for something, and now they repurposed it into what seems to be a power substation. And then you got these train tracks that run by there. Anyway, that's besides the point. Biologically, you got a lot of stuff going on there too, even though it's like heavily altered by human activity and everything like that. There's a lot of biology that goes on in this Carquinez Strait right here. A lot of fish that mix in. You get saltwater fish species that come through, mixing in with the brackish water species, and then also freshwater species, anadromous species that come through here, and all use this one little lane basically to move in and out of different ecosystems. So even in this Carquinez Strait right here, you have a lot of ecotone going from saltwater to freshwater and vice versa, depending on how the tide's moving out. But yeah, you know, obviously as far as the biology is concerned, so far so good. I mean, there's a lot of evidence of human impact here. Obviously, you know, you're looking out there, and even that landscape out there covered by all those oak trees, you can see through into the understory that you got a lot of this grass stuff. This grass right here, these are all like non-native introduced grass, you know, wild oak, bromen species and everything like that. But back in the day, before this was all untouched by Europeans, this would have been like a nice oak forest extending probably all the way down to the water. And the dominant species of oak is this one right here. This is Quercus agrifolia, otherwise known as the coast live oak, in the family Fajaceae. It's the family of oaks. Oaks are anything that produces acorns, okay? So that's what an oak family is. Anything that produces an acorn is in the family Fajaceae. This is a young one right here. We got a bigger one right there and an even bigger one back there. But this is by far the dominant oak species here in this particular area, and most of coastal California. Yeah, this is a real hardy species. Takes a long time to grow, like many oak species. Has really dense, hard wood. It sucks though, because there's a number of diseases and introduced insects that are messing up these populations. And you know, this spot is pretty cool too as far as the plants go. I mean, we got a pretty good representation of a lot of the native flora that can be found in this area. I mean, you got this right here. This right here is Artemisia californica, the California sagebrush, Asteraceae, the sunflower family. When I first learned about this, I had no idea it was in the sunflower family. I mean, it's not really flowering right now. Maybe I'll show you some later that have some flowers, but these flowers don't really look anything like sunflowers. I mean, that's the cool thing about biology to me. You know, like, you learn that things are related to each other, but you can't really see it at first. And then you find out it's either because of genetics or something that you can't see when you first glance at it. You know, you got to look closer. But it looks like these aren't flowering quite yet. They might have some buds. But when they do flower, if you were to get up real close, like with a microscope or a hand lens, you could actually see the similar characteristics, or the like characteristics that this would share with other sunflowers like daisies or whatnot. But yeah, Asteraceae sunflower family, very common plant along the coast of California, Artemisia californica. And then next to it, we got this one here. This is probably one of the most common plants in California, especially along the coast. Although I've seen some of these in the desert too, probably introduced there. But this is coyote bush, Baccharis Larus, also in the sunflower family. Again, see, like the flowers that this one has doesn't look anything like a daisy or a sunflower, but it is in the family because it shares characteristics that are the same essentially, and that is further corroborated with genetic evidence. But anyway, yeah, Baccharis pilaris, coyote bush. This plant's biology is suited and very advantageous to the coastal California climate, especially when fog banks roll in. This plant is really adept at collecting water from fog that moves in. One of the most common plants in California. You're gonna see this everywhere, especially if you're near the coast. This one right here, this is Diplodocus auranticus, otherwise known as the sticky monkey flower. They call it sticky because underneath these leaves right here, if you were to touch it, it kind of sticks to your finger. At least that's how I remember learning it. Yeah, very, very showy flower. This is actually one of my favorites in California because it's so common and, you know, it's pretty. It's a pretty flower. Yeah, I think it's pollinated by bumblebees. I know hummingbirds will visit this thing. It's got like pollen presenters on there and guides that actually guide whatever pollinator deep down into the flower to get that sweet, juicy nectar. Yeah, very common plant. This one right here, I believe is coyote mint. Species name is Monardella villosa. Very, very fragrant plant. Lamiaceae is the family of mints. Yeah, it's pretty smelly. It actually kind of smells like weed, but anyway, like it's a very smelly plant, as are many examples in the Lamiaceae, in the sage family and in the mint family. Very, very aromatic plants. And you can see the difference in flowers. This is basically like a kind of a conglomerate of multiple flowers all in one. I forget what they call this. I don't know botanical terms, but yeah, you can see all the flowers here are all bunched up together, you know, and you can see each one of those is an individual flower poking out, and that's kind of a reproductive strategy. You know, the more flowers you have, the more potential you have of getting more fertilization, and you can produce more fruits, which produce more offspring, as opposed to this one right here. You have a bunch, like, you know, have one single flower, or, you know, you have a bunch of them, but it's not as many flowers on one stalk as this one is. But these ones probably have more specific pollinators, so you probably have some sort of insect species or bird species that is more likely to pollinate this plant than any other plants. So yeah, I'm just out here on a walk, you know, by myself. Everybody's doing something. All my friends are working, my girl's working. I'm not working, so I'm out here just on this walk by myself, doing what I love, to be honest. Like, you know, all my life I've just been interested in life, like literally just interested in life, and from the point of view of a biologist. And when I mean like life, it's not just like human life, like, oh, what's it like to go on a date for the first time, or what's it like to lose your tooth and everything, but more so from the biological perspective. You know, like, what's the point of life? Why does life exist? And more interestingly, how does life exist? And then now I'm at the point to where, how does life interact with each other and pretty much shape the world that we know around it? And obviously there's a huge diversity to life too. There's multiple forms of life. There's multiple strategies to live in. And, you know, having that perspective hasn't always been easy. You know, I've just gotten a lot of weird looks like growing up in the past. You know, I grew up in a family that, you know, was more geared towards like, oh, you just got to get the regular job that everybody else gets because it's secure, because you know for a fact you're going to get paid and you don't have to worry about struggling for money, which I get. That's all cool and everything like that, but I don't know, to me it kind of felt like you were putting yourself in a position to be kind of imprisoned by your career, and you know, I wasn't all for that. So, you know, I decided to put a lot of my attention into the biological sciences, in the direction of wildlife biology, because, to be honest, my whole career goal was just not to be inside an office in a building. You know, I want to be outside. Something like this is more of an office for me. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been successful. I actually do this professionally. A lot of the stuff that you see me talk about in these videos, I've actually been paid to do. The reason I do these videos, to be honest, is to be able to share that, because I don't know, man, I just feel like it's important to know. it's important to know like these species. A lot of people don't agree with me, and I've experienced that in my life growing up, that, you know, people really don't care about this shit. People don't really see the importance in understanding this stuff. And it's not really that sad to me, because I understand people too, and people are all about themselves, just like any other living organism. It's all about themselves. They're all trying to compete with each other and compete with nature around them, so they can be comfortable and they can live out their lives, and they can produce their young and make sure that their young and their following generations are unharmed and able to produce a generation after that as well. That's all that life's trying to do. It's just we as humans, we got lucky to evolve brains and consciousness where we can actually keep records and have the ability to understand to a certain extent what life is all about, and the overall purpose and position and niches that certain organisms fill in this planet we call Earth. So to me, that's important, and to a lot of people, it's not important. What's more important to many people is, you know, how to get that next check, how to get money, how to stunt on your oppositions and on your enemies, you know, how to put things that are opposing you down so you can live comfortably. You know, that's what a lot of people are about. So go on, do your thing. Hold on, I'm getting distracted right now. We got one right here. Let's see, let's hope we can get it. Yes, I got him. Got him. All right, here we go. Right here, we have what I think is Carquinez Strait. I apologize for this horrible container. I know it's like all, you know, like faded and everything like that, but this is all I got. Anyway, Carquinez Strait, I think otherwise known as the cloudless sulfur, family Pieridae, which is the family of white butterflies and cabbage butterflies. Same family as the infamous introduced cabbage butterfly that is here in the United States. But yeah, just like the white butterfly, this one right here, I believe its host plant is some sort of brassica, some sort of mustard plant, and a very showy butterfly, as you can tell. Nice kind of yellowish coloration right there. It's got orange colors on the dorsal surfaces of its wings. Apparently the males and females of these species, there's a very short period of courtship that relies on pheromones and also the ultraviolet radiation that happens off the scales of these wings. So they use these wings not only for flight, but for signaling to conspecifics, that's members of the same species, for courtship purposes. And that's what they're doing right now. It's in its adult form. When it's a larva as a caterpillar, all it's doing is just eating and growing. And then it has this other life stage in its life, this adult form with wings, so it can fly around and look for mates, mate, and produce the next generation. All right, let's let it go. Ah, that was a pretty butterfly, wasn't it? And that kind of brings me to my next point. Like, you know, when it comes to people are really interested in things that are like pleasing to the eye. You know, just like that butterfly, it's really nice to look at because it's nice and colorful, showy, because naturally and biologically it's trying to be showy, but just not to you. It doesn't care about whether you're seeing it or not. It cares about whether the opposite sex is looking at it or not. Which, you know, it's kind of like people too. People like pretty things. You know, I'll admit that I like pretty things too. But when it comes to making, like, you know, serious decisions, people tend to favor, you know, pretty organisms over the ones that are ugly. And that has always been interesting to me. Uh-oh, we got another one right here. Let me see if we can get that. This is a very common one right here. Oh, okay. Hold on, we got to follow it. This is an interesting patch right here. There's a lot of lepidopteran activity going on right here. And right now I'm trying to get another species in a whole different family that looks completely different too, to talk about. So let's see if I can do that. Let's go. And we got it. Dang, look at all these brome seeds that are stuck in the net now. All right, here we go. Genonia conea, also known as the common buckeye butterfly, family Nymphalidae, or the family of brush-footed butterflies. The reason why they're called brush-footed butterflies is because they have these brush-like structures on their feet, and that actually aids in the pollination of whatever plant species that the host plant belongs to. So I just learned that these have a very interesting reproduction strategy. As you know, the common name for these is the common buckeye because they are pretty common. They're found commonly in many areas in the United States. And the reason that is apparently is that they tend to target host plants that have these like chemical compounds called glycosides. And what those glycosides do is they actually aid the caterpillar in growing faster. And on top of that, they aid whatever may eat the caterpillar to grow slower. So any ants or anything like that might eat the caterpillars of this species, it will actually inhibit their growth or their colony growth or something like that. I don't know too much more information about it, but I do know that these have an interesting reproductive strategy or survival strategy when it comes to living as a species, essentially. And you can see that those markings right there, those eye spot color or those eye spot colorations right there. I wonder if that has anything to do with the predator deterrence as well, because like a lot of things have evolved and adapted to looking at large eye spots as being a threat. So I wonder if that uses it in the same manner, or it could be vestigial. I mean, those eye spots are kind of small, so I don't really know if that serves the same purpose anymore. But kind of pretty colored butterfly when you get up close, when you look up close at it, but overall kind of drab. So there's probably an element of camouflage within those colors as well. I saw this one kind of battling it out with another species over here. They were just like running into each other and like fluttering and everything like that. I kind of cut it off from its original business. So let me get it released. Very common butterfly. You're down to see some of these if you ever decide to go hiking. All right, let's let this one go. All right, cool. We're gonna move on to the next Lepidopteran because I'm seeing a good example of Lepidopterans in this one little spot right here. So let's try to get another one. You can see here that my net has been penetrated by all these little seed things right here. These are basically the seeds of a very annoying invasive plant known as Bromus magitensis. This is it right here, otherwise known as foxtail brome. So when they grow in the spring after it rains, they grow pretty fast, pretty well adapted to disturbed habitats. And this habitat was disturbed when they built this road. So very common invasive species found through all North America, native to Europe. Anyway, part of their reproductive strategy is the use of mammals and fur-bearing creatures to transport their seeds, because these seeds, as you can tell in this net, they kind of have these like somewhat barbs or hairs that point one direction and allow it to go through something real easily and not the other way. So you can see that's happening with my net right now. So you can imagine, some sort of hairy creature, whether it be a deer or a coyote, or even in Europe, something like a jackal or a wild boar or a bear or something like that, just runs through a field of all this grass, and then all this grass gets stuck to his fur. It carries it off somewhere else where it becomes dispersed and deposited, and then it can start up a new population wherever that may be. And that's the reason why it's very successful here. But anyway, on to the next butterfly. Let's do this. I see it. Let's do this. That's right. That's right. I'm just getting better at it. All right. Okay. Oh shit. This one is interesting. I might have to look this one up real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I figured it out. Okay, so this is in the family Nymphalidae, same family, brush-footed butterflies. Order Lepidoptera, order of butterflies and moths. This is Phycoides mylitta in the family Nymphalidae, family of brush-footed butterflies. Common name is the mylitta crescent, and I think they call it the crescent because if you look on its hind wing, towards the posterior portion of it, there's this little crescent patch, and I guess that's the kind of the distinguishing characteristic between the group of crescent butterflies, which might be in the genus Phycoides. This is a new one for me. I haven't really caught and observed this one up close before, but yeah, interesting butterfly diversity they got here. Let's let it go. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you didn't find it too boring. I'm gonna continue to make oh, look at that. That bird out there, that was Pandion halaietus, the osprey. It looked like it had a snake in its talons. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I'm supposed to sign out. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hopefully I can come out with more. Oh, there it is. No, it doesn't have a snake. It has a twig, a stick. There we go. That's Pandion halaietus, otherwise known as the osprey. order Accipitriformes, family of, or the order of hawks and eagles. Man, I just keep on distracted. Anyway, there it is right there. I know, I feel like it's just flying back and forth with that stick. I don't know if it has a nest already or if it's trying to figure out where to build a nest. Focus, focus. Pandion halaietus, the Osprey. Found around a lot of, you know, large bodies of water, whether it be oceans, rivers, lakes. It exploits marine resources, particularly fish resources. These are one of those birds that'll dive down and grab a fish close to the surface of the water. Highly adapted to doing so. It'll plunge its whole body into the water too, submersing it, all of its body, and then it'll use those powerful wings to basically lift itself up out the water. I guess it has oils, or its feathers are substantially hydrophobic, so water doesn't soak up into the feathers, waterlogging it. So once it dives down into the water and grabs its food source, it can easily hop back out and fly away. Relatively large wingspan. A magnificent bird, I must admit. Anyway, that's all I got for you today here at the Carquinez Strait. I'd like to thank y'all, all of those of y'all who have watched this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being some of my viewers. I appreciate it. But with that being said, that's all I got for today. Yeah, just remember, keep your decisions scientific. Stay away from all the gimmicks. I'm Ichabod Slice. Go ahead and learn something.